tell you about my ideal kindergarten classroom. My ideal classroom is one that is integrating, accepting, and all around uses new things kids have never experienced. One important thing I want my classroom to have, especially a kindergarten classroom, is less worksheets and more hands-on. Kids today are forced to spend 6 hours looking at boards, hearing teachers talk all day, and expected to pick up so much information at one time. Centers are also a big part of what I want in my classroom. In the text I have went into detail about my centers that integrate literature, social studies, math, and arts and crafts. Center 1 incorporates literature using puppets. Students can retell a story acted out and learn about beginnings, middles, and ends. Center 2 deals with math and art. In Center 2, the students will be asked to create a collage using shapes cut out of construction paper and put onto paper to create the shape of an animal or a setting. Afterwards, students will have to discuss on a piece of paper what shapes they used, how many they used, and how many sides of each certain shape they used. Center 3 is the one that deals with social studies. Center 3, I want to incorporate a playhouse where students will be able to play, and based on that, most students, whenever they play house or play as if they were in the home setting, act out what they have experienced. In this center, by playing together, students get to experience each other's home lives. Also, students will be asked to write out or to explain who they played with and how they played, as in what role each person had or what was incorporated into this. A big part of centers is the supplies you have that go into it. For Center 1, some of the supplies will be puppets that can be made out of clothing or fabric, but it can also be bought, storybooks, and if needed, a puppet theater, which can also be made out of cardboard. Center 2, you will need construction paper, pencils, rulers, and of course, different types of art supplies. In Center 3, one of the big things which isn't necessarily needed but can be used, is a playhouse, which can also be made out of a large box that comes from a refrigerator or something. The children's imaginations, and of course paper and pencil to have the students write out what happened during this playtime. For Center 3, another big thing would be to have a discussion beforehand about how different families live different lives. Incorporating this into social studies on how different families live in different ways, make different incomes, which doesn't have to be discussed, and how there's different ways of living. The ideal classroom for different teachers is always different depending on what they cater to. Many teachers have different expectations, they have different wants, and they'll have different types of kids. But one thing that all teachers can agree on is that we need to get away from textbooks and worksheets and cater more to students.